Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, my name is Griselda. Today's video is going to be a very special one. I am not only going to be doing a makeup tutorial, but I'm also going to take you guys down memory lane. This month, I'm celebrating my 10th year anniversary as a makeup artist. Wow! I still can't believe I'm saying that out loud. It's been 10 years since I first picked up a makeup brush and called myself a professional makeup artist. I'm gonna share with you guys how I got started, the locations that I used to work at, and the struggle and what I did to be where I'm at today. This video seems so surreal for me, but I'm super excited to be sharing it with you guys. So if you want to go down memory lane with me, then just keep on watching. Before I take off, I gotta make sure that I am very well prepared. So I have my hand sanitizer, I have my mask, and I also have my alcohol. I have a pack of cotton pads because this is what I use to put the alcohol in to rub down my steering wheel. I do my door handle and my phone. So we're going down Rosecrans, which is the street that I used to take to get to work. So I make a left here on Village Drive. And you can see Macy's right there. So here we have the Macy's, which is completely renovated. This is my very first location where I started as a makeup artist. This is where I used to ring up people. Oh my god. My old stomping ground. Wow. So because of COVID, there wasn't a lot of people there, and the security guard kind of was walking around because I was filming. But that is the location that I first started as a makeup artist. It's a very small location, a small counter, because it's in Macy's. I was there for 2 years as a part-time. Now we're off to my second location where I was promoted as a full-time artist. So yeah, let's go. So when I got promoted to a full-time artist, I didn't care where I got promoted to. I was just like, I want the position. So if that meant me driving a little further, that's what I was gonna have to do. So right now we're on the 405 freeway headed to Culver City. It's not that far from where I used to live, but it was a little further. Manhattan Village was literally a 10-minute drive. This one's like a 15 to 20 depending on traffic. So this is the exit I would take. This is the Macy's where I transferred to. They called this mall at the time Fox Hills Mall. Now it's called the Westfield Culver City Mall. I'm not gonna lie, we all had a parking area that we had to park, but because I was always late, I would always park in the regular parking, which is where I'm at right now. Let's hope that there's someone there that can help me and I can show you guys exactly what I used to do there. So this is the second location where I used to work. This is where we used to do makeup. Because of COVID, nobody's here. But this brings back so many memories. This was one of the busiest locations that I ever worked at. Constantly busy. It was so crazy to see it this empty. Oh my god. I used to take my lunch breaks and my 15-minute breaks right here, just so I wouldn't be too far away from the counter. So we're about to exit to get to my third location. It took us about 45 minutes to get here because it's all the way in Glendale. I used to work at the Glendale Galleria Mall. I don't know if the actual store is going to be open, but I'm still gonna show you guys the store where it all ended. So I just parked, and this was my very first MAC store that I ever worked at. The other two locations, as you guys saw, were at Macy's. So this is the new location for the MAC counter where I used to work. It actually used to be where that Zara is. but they moved it to this one, and of course it's closed because of COVID. How crazy is that? So this next location is where I actually started my freelance career. It's literally down the street from the Glendale Galleria. You guys have probably heard of it. Is Studio K. One of my really good friends, Lara CK, she actually owns the salon. So that's where we're headed now. So this is Studio K. I actually used to do makeup right here in the first chair right here. So they're currently closed right now, but I wanted to show you guys their makeup station. This is where I used to do makeup every Friday, Saturday, and sometimes Sunday, depending if I got super busy. And that concludes my little journey that I wanted to bring you guys on. Now it's time for me to head home because I also have a makeup look that I am going to be doing in this video. I'm not gonna tell you guys what look I'm going to do because it's kind of a surprise, but it's getting late, so I'm gonna head home. All right, so now that I am back home, I first went ahead and I took a shower and I sanitized myself. I wanted to feel comfortable and clean when I sat in my studio before talking to you guys about what makeup look I was going to create. So with that being said, this makeup look is very, very special to me because this is the makeup look that I wore to my very first makeup interview with MAC Cosmetics. When you guys see this look, you guys are going to be like, wow, this is the look that I'm going to be recreating. I have no idea why I decided to wear yellow to my makeup interview. There are a lot of things that I didn't know back then that I know now, and you guys are probably gonna see a huge difference in how I did my makeup before and how I do it now. If you want to see how I recreate this look, then just keep on watching. Before I go ahead and move on to the makeup look, I wanted to let you guys know that all of the products that I'm going to be using are from MAC. These are some of my favorite holy grail products and some new products that have launched since I've left the company. So yeah, so I just wanted to let you guys know because there may be some of the products that I might not be mentioning because I am going to be talking through this makeup look. All right, so we're going to start off with my favorite MAC spray. This is the Fix Plus. I'm pretty sure most of you guys know what this product is. It is a hydrating mist. It has glycerin, so it's gonna help keep the makeup in place. It is not a setting spray, it is a hydrating mist. So we're gonna just spray our face with this. Just the smell of it just reminds me of my MAC days. Working for MAC was something that I felt in my soul I needed to do. Growing up, I never really played with makeup, and I was also not allowed to wear makeup. I feel like the first time that I ever wore makeup, and it wasn't even makeup, was in high school when I was 14 or 15. I was allowed to only wear mascara and chapstick, not even lipstick, chapstick. My mom was like super strict about me wearing makeup. If you are Latina, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And also being a Latina, you also know what novelas are. So me growing up watching novelas with my mom, I used to always pay attention to the makeup that they would do on the actresses. I would always be so amazed on how beautiful their complexion was. I would always pay attention to the eyeshadow, how easily and beautifully it was like blended. So I always had an eye for the artistry, but I never was really passionate about like makeup in itself. So I never really wore it. I never was that type of person that wanted to just wear makeup. I knew I wanted to become a makeup artist because I admired the artistry of makeup. Before I move on to my story, I'm going to be using my spiked eyebrow pencil, which was one of my holy grail products when I worked for MAC. You just have to be very light-handed with this because you can get a little carried away. I remember the first time that I actually had a full face of makeup was my quinceañera. And I'll insert a photo of that here. I had really thin eyebrows and I got my makeup done. I didn't even do it myself because at the time I didn't know how to do makeup. I had a feeling that eventually I was going to either be a makeup artist or just do makeup on myself really well, but I didn't know where it was going to take me. So as I got older, I obviously like started kind of playing with makeup and I like knew I really liked it. So fast forward to 2006. When I was pregnant with Anthony, I would actually try to create looks on myself because, you know, I felt like I was semi-talented, that's when I realized that like I really wanted to pursue becoming a makeup artist. Obviously, like after I had Anthony, a lot of things got put on hold because having a child and trying to pursue something doesn't go hand in hand. So me having Anthony definitely put a lot of things on hold. So I wasn't really like into makeup as much as I was before I got pregnant. I would still do my makeup and I would still try to create looks when I had a little bit more time to myself, but it wasn't like a passion of mine anymore. I was just, it kind of like died down. So I had Anthony in 2006. So 4 years later, I felt like I was at a place where I was able to kind of pursue something because Anthony was a little bit older, and I started noticing that every time I would go to the mall and I would walk through the MAC counter, I would feel some type of way. I'm like, I had the desire to work there. But I was obviously super scared and terrified because the MAC girls and MAC guys were so intimidating because they were so confident in their looks and their outfits, and like especially when they would have MAC events, like the music, literally everything, like that was the place you wanted to be. But I didn't have the confidence to do so. I never felt like I was good enough to work at MAC. My sister-in-law at the time, she was like one of my closest like best friends. She was like a sister to me. I remember her telling me like, Griselda, like you just have to go for it. And I'm just like, no, like they're not gonna want to hire me. Like what? I'm not good enough. Like that's not gonna happen. I remember we were walking through a MAC counter, her and I, and she just went to the MAC counter and she was just like, my sister-in-law is really shy and she really wants to work here, and what does she need to do to work for MAC? When she came back, she was just like, they said that you need to turn in your resume and you need to bring a portfolio. And I was like, a portfolio? I was like, where am I gonna get a portfolio? I've never done makeup before. I just like knew that I wanted to do it. And I felt so pressured after that. And I remember her kind of pushing me to just like go for it. And I was like, I have to practice first. I have to like, there's no way that I can just go in and they ask me to do makeup, they're gonna want to hire me because I don't know how to do makeup on other people. So I gathered all my friends and my family members and I decided to practice. That was like the start of everything because I had no idea what I was doing. I knew what it was supposed to look like when I looked at a person, but I didn't know how to get there. I just figured it out. I never watched a YouTube video at the time. I remember just practicing till I felt confident enough to go to a MAC counter and turn in my resume and my portfolio. At the time I was still with my son's father, and he ended up taking me to 8 different locations to drop off my resume because he saw how passionate I was about it, and he just like was like, we're just gonna do it. I'm gonna take you. The very first counter that I went to drop off my resume was the counter that I ended up working at, which was in the Manhattan Village Mall in Manhattan Beach. I asked to speak to the manager and I said, here's my resume, I want to work here, what do I need to do? And the girl was like, you just leave your resume and we'll turn it in, and if there's any positions open then they will give you a call. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well, here's my portfolio, like this is the work that I've done, like who do I need to show it to? And she took a look at it and she was just like, oh, these are great photos. And I was just like, if they don't feel like I'm serious about this, they're gonna find out, because I'm gonna drop it off at every single location that I know of. And that's exactly what I did. So after I dropped off my resume to all of the 8 locations, I waited and waited and waited. This was in the beginning of January of 2010. A month went by, 2 months went by. After the 3rd month, I was like, they're not gonna call me. I was like so discouraged and honestly like kind of heartbroken, because I was just like, I did all of this and like nobody's calling me back. And I took it as like, okay, well, you know, maybe in a few more months like I can revisit and maybe they'll give me a chance. That experience was such an eye-opener, because I feel like the reason why I didn't want to do it in the beginning was because I was so afraid of rejection. That was like my biggest fear. Once I got over that feeling, I was just like, you know what, at least I tried. Fast forward to 3 months, they didn't call me back. Like at the time, I had a part-time job at a steel distributing company. I remember getting the phone call and I was at work for my interview. They were like, hi, my name is so-and-so. Oh, I'm calling from, you know, MAC Cosmetics. We would like to set up an interview with you. And my heart dropped. In my head, I was like, wait, what? Is this really happening? We went ahead and we scheduled the interview and I was screaming of joy, like screaming. I was just like, oh my God. It was like 3 months later, but they called me back. I remember crying to my family. Everybody was like so happy for me. So the day of the interview came. It's like, I need to like be focused and clear-minded, do my makeup, have everything ready, be prepared to walk into that interview and own it. I remember trying to figure out what kind of look I wanted to do. I don't know why, but I remember telling myself, I think I should do yellow. I feel like yellow is bright and it's gonna show that bright is beautiful. And I don't know what I was thinking, but I was just like, I'm just gonna do yellow. That's exactly what I did. I remember arriving 15 minutes early to my interview. And I was like so nervous. I didn't know what to expect, what questions were gonna be asked. I don't remember like all of the questions that were asked, but I just remember one of the questions being, what inspired your look today? And I looked at her and I was just like, well, you know, I feel like I wanted to feel, you know, happy, and that's why I chose like a yellow makeup look, because yellow makes me happy. Oh my Lord. Now that I'm thinking back and I'm like, what was I thinking saying that? I remember my manager, which ended up being the person that interviewed me. She asked me, why did I want to work for MAC? And my eyes got watery, and I told her, I said, you know, every single time I pass through a MAC counter, I feel the energy. I feel the passion behind every single artist that is behind the counter, and I want to have that feeling. I want to feel like I belong somewhere, and I feel like I belong working for the company. She said, I don't know how we're gonna make this work, but whether it's here at my location or anywhere else, but you're gonna work for the company because I can see the passion in your eyes. I ended up having to go through 2 other interviews, which were horrific for me because I was already super nervous about my first interview, but knowing that I had to go through 2 other interviews, and on top of that I had to go through a makeup interview. It was like a whole 6-month process. It was terrifying. I was just like, how many more interviews do I have to go through? I literally went through 4 interviews and it took 6 months to start working at MAC. It was crazy. My makeup interview, I feel like I completely failed, but they felt my passion. And I feel like that's all that mattered. Like, they knew that I wanted to work for the company and I was going to do everything in my power to work for the company, and I did. So fast forward to June of 2010, I get a call a few days after my birthday, and I remember this vividly because I was like, this was the perfect birthday present that anyone could have ever given me. And I was still working at the steel distributing company. I get a call while at work, and I remember my manager, and she was like, hey Griselda, this is so-and-so. I just wanted to call you and give you the great news that we wanted to offer you a part-time position at MAC. And I was at work and I was like, what? I was like, are you serious? And I was like trying to whisper because I was in the office. She was like, yeah. She was like, are you not excited? And I was like, yes. I was like, I'm very excited. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm at work. And then she was like, oh, she was like, okay, I wanted just to give you the good news. Give me a call back when you get off. And I was like, oh my God, shocked. I was so happy. I am a MAC girl. Like, the happiest day of my life aside from, you know, giving birth to Anthony. It was such a crazy feeling that till this day I can't explain. So that was the start of my career with MAC. They hired me as a part-time artist, which still allowed me to keep my other job. So I was working 2 jobs. Here comes the fun part. So I go and I fill in all the paperwork. They give me my schedule. I go in my first day, and in my head I'm thinking like, they're not gonna have you do makeup on your first day. You're gonna be fine, like you're gonna get to learn stuff here and there. I get to work, and the first thing that the assistant manager tells me, he said, okay, well, here's your brush belt, go ahead and clock in, your first appointment is waiting for you. And I was like, excuse me, what? Huh? What do you mean my first appointment is waiting for me? I was so terrified. Honestly, I didn't know what to say, how to act, what to do. I was just like, okay, cool. Like, I had to play it so cool that at first I was like, can I go use the restroom first? I literally went to the bathroom and I felt like I was going to shit my pants. No joke, because I was so nervous. So I come back to the counter. You guys are about to laugh so hard. My first client had literally no eyebrows. Mind you, I've practiced eyeshadow and maybe complexion, but all of my friends had like full eyebrows. I've always had full eyebrows. She had no eyebrows. What was I supposed to do? You know the saying, fake it till you make it? That's literally what I had to do. When I got to the eyebrow part, I literally had to say a prayer because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I had no idea. Everything else looked fine. Her eyebrows though were a disaster. And before I handed her the mirror when I was done, I went to my assistant manager and I was like, I have to confess, I'm not the greatest at eyebrows. Can you come help me? He ended up saving my life because I felt like she probably would have wiped off her whole entire makeup if she saw what her eyebrows looked like. They were so bad. And after that, I was like, you know what? I need to perfect this. This is not what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a brow expert by the end of this. And sure enough, I challenged myself, and every single client that I saw that didn't have like full eyebrows, I was like, can I take them? Like, I want to practice. So I used that to my advantage so I can practice. When I always say practice makes perfect, I'm not lying. So many things have changed in the way that I do my eyeshadow that me looking back at this eyeshadow look kind of makes me cringe a little bit. I wanted to become a full-time artist, but one of the biggest things that I struggled with, and still do, not gonna lie, is being late. That was the only thing that was stopping me from becoming a full-time artist. A position opened up at a different location for a full-time. At that time, I had already been working on my time management, and I was able to get promoted to the Fox Hills Mall, which now is called the Westfield Culver City Mall. I also felt like if I wanted to grow with the company, I needed to go somewhere else to continue to grow. So it was really hard for me to like move to a different location because of working at that location. It helped me grow as an artist because I learned so much. I feel like doing everything hands-on just taught me so many different techniques that I would have never learned watching a YouTube video because everything was hands-on, and I was able to actually ask questions and like, why are you using that brush, and why are you using it in a circular motion, and why are you putting that underneath that pigment, and why this and why that. There's so many questions that I was always asking because I felt like that was the only way for me to learn because I'm a visual learner. If I see you doing something, I'm going to ask you, why are you doing it that way? Why are you using that brush opposed to this brush? So working at that location definitely was very educational for me. So my first day at the Culver City Mall, it was also my manager's first day. I obviously introduced myself to her and I said, hey, my name is Griselda. You know, I come from Manhattan Village. I just want to let you know that my goal is to become a third key, which is like a floor manager. And I'm giving myself a year to do that. And I remember I was like so bold and I was like, I'm gonna do it with or without you. I said, I just want to let you know that that's like my goal. And she kind of like looked at me, she was like, okay, like that was a lot to take in on my first day. Her and I became really close, and she helped me so much. She was very helpful when it came to teaching me what I needed to learn to become a third key. There was so many amazing artists that worked at that counter that I learned so much from. That's where I really learned artistry. Me being the person that I am that like loves to ask questions, I would just like sit there and watch artists just like do makeup, and I would just be like, oh my god, this is like so pretty, like what did you use, and this and that and the other. I forgot to mention that when I worked at the Manhattan Beach location, I discovered Instagram. I discovered it for the filters. I didn't know what it was. I just liked the filters. When I was in the Manhattan Beach location, I think I must have had like 10,000 followers back in 2011, because I remember downloading the app in 2010, like towards the end, and then 2011 was when I actually started like getting the hang of posting and figuring out what Instagram was. Back then my Instagram handle was Sugar Pants. Don't ask where the name came from. So when I moved to the Fox Hills Mall, I think I had like 25,000 followers, and back then like 25,000 followers was like a huge amount of followers. Sometimes I would go into work and they were like, oh my god, you're Sugar Pants, can I take a picture? And I'm just like, why do these people want to take a picture with me? Like, I didn't really fully understand, but it was so crazy to me that they were like, we see you on Instagram and we follow you, and it was weird. Back then I started kind of featuring my work on Instagram when I started working at the Fox Hills Mall. I did so much makeup that I had to like take pictures of it all the time. Obviously, being a MAC artist, working there was amazing. I got to experience so many different things. So moving forward to July 2013, I found out that there was a position open for a third key in the city of Glendale. At the time, I was living in the South Bay area. I was like, that is going to be a drive, but I am determined, like I want this position. And because I had shown so much progress as an artist and with my time management, I was able to apply and interview, and I ended up getting the position. My first goal was to like become a makeup artist for MAC. I did that. I got a full-time position at MAC, and then now I'm moving to a third key position, and then after that it was have my own store. Third location that I ended up working at was at an actual store, and which was one of the highest volume locations in our region. Working there was also a great experience because that's where I learned putting my management skills to the test. I had to learn how to talk to people. It was a very different experience. That's where I felt like management wasn't really for me. I felt like having responsibility for so many artists was something that like was super overwhelming for me, and I was just like, maybe I do want to become a trainer. Maybe education is the route that I want to go. So working there definitely made me realize that I don't want to have my own store. Unfortunately, I was only there for a little over 6 months, but I remember closing one of the nights and I ended up getting into a really, really bad car accident where I got rear-ended while I was at a complete stop. I couldn't go back to work. I was on disability for about 6 months, and as time went by, I realized that it was time for me to part ways with the company. This was in 2014. So I decided to take a leap of faith and leave the company. I started getting a lot more inquiries to freelance. I was able to have more time for my son. I started getting a lot more opportunities with Instagram. At the time, I want to say I had a little bit over 100,000 followers on Instagram. My biggest fear was not being able to provide for my son, having a steady paycheck, and going from that to not knowing where your next paycheck is going to come from. If I'm not mistaken, in 2013 or 14, I was able to do my very first makeup class, and that is all thanks to Instagram because of my following, and that was when I still was Sugar Pants. So once I did my very first class here in LA, I got the opportunity to travel to New York to do the same class that I did here and do it there. I never in a million years would have thought that anybody was going to pay me to come to a different state and teach them how to do makeup. So that opportunity obviously opened up so many other doors that I was able to meet so many amazing people and I started traveling to teach classes. I went from being so terrified of not knowing where my next check was gonna come from to traveling to different states to teach classes and making what I would make in a month in a day. It was the craziest thing. I felt so blessed. In between me freelancing and being a traveling makeup artist, I also started working at Studio K, which I showed you guys in the beginning of the video. Laura K is one of my really good friends, and she just allowed me to like do makeup there, and I was so grateful because, you know, I had consistent money coming in. You know, it made me really continue to push myself to just continue to post my work. One of the things that I really focused on was being consistent and posting my work. Every single time I would do makeup on a client, I would always ask, you know, if I can take a picture in a video. I always tried my best to always have content to like post and promote so I can have more clients. So I was freelancing off and on at Studio K for like 2 years because I was also a traveling makeup artist. She was super flexible with me. If I needed to take a client in her studio, she would just figure out how to have space for me, which I'm super grateful for. Then Instagram started picking up for me. My very first paid partnership with a makeup company was NYX Cosmetics. They contacted me and they were like, we would love for you to come in and create content for us. I had one of my friends look over the contract just to make sure that everything was good, and I was creating content for them for a while, and then other opportunities came in and I was just like, wait, I can actually make a living off of this. That was the beginning of my beauty influencer career, which I was so grateful for because I was still able to freelance as a makeup artist, and I was able to create content for Instagram. So I went ahead and I set my face with the Patrick Star Set Powder. This was in collab with obviously Patrick Star and MAC. Now I'm going to use my mineralized skin finish powder in medium dark. This used to be my jam when I used to work at MAC. I used to set my face and everyone's face with this powder. So fast forward to when Instagram allowed 15-second videos. I don't know if you guys remember that. That's how you know I'm an OG, because if you don't know the 15-second struggle, then I don't know what to tell you. I remember posting my very first eyeliner look on Instagram, doing it in 15 seconds. It was like the craziest thing. I think I started filming all of my stuff on my phone and I got a ring light. I think that's how everything started. I started posting my eye tutorials on Instagram, and that obviously led up to everyone asking me when I was going to start YouTube. And I was like, YouTube is not for me. Like, I don't even have a camera. I don't have any lighting. And the perfectionist that I am, I was like, I'm not about to put up a video filmed with my phone with no good lighting. So I got to a point where I was making good enough money to invest in lights and a camera, and that's exactly what I did. I remember I ended up spending $10,000. That was a lot of money for me to just to like spend on something that I didn't know where it was gonna take me. But again, I took a leap of faith and I invested in my lights. I have the Kino lights, which clearly it paid off because those are the lights that I'm still using till this day. I started YouTube in 2015. If you watched my latest videos where I talk about my struggles and my insecurities and all that, I talk about me being a perfectionist. So me being consistent on YouTube was one of the things that I really struggled with, because I never wanted to upload anything onto YouTube unless it was completely perfect. And obviously watching YouTubers that have been doing this for years, I was like, my videos don't look like that, especially because I have such a huge following. I was just like, they're gonna think that my videos are trash. I ended up becoming a YouTuber, but I wasn't uploading as consistently because I was so insecure about my videos and how the quality, and you know, me talking in front of the camera was like weird to me. I went from just taking photos to like talking in front of the camera by myself, and I was just like, this is not for me. So I took a huge break from uploading on YouTube, and just focused on growing my Instagram. It was one of those things where I was reconsidering YouTube, and I was just like, YouTube is just not for me. Like, you know, I tried, but it just didn't work out. I can just film IG videos and continue getting paid like that, and that's what I did for a very long time. This is my very first post as Makeup by Griselda back in 2013. I decided to change my name to Makeup by Griselda because in my head, if you ever get your hands on doing Beyonce's makeup, how is Sugar Pants gonna look on an article? Or what if she tags you and says Makeup by Sugar Pants? I'm like, no, that's not gonna happen. So I made the decision to create a whole new Instagram, and I changed my name to Makeup by Griselda, which luckily was still available. I was determined to make a name for myself as a makeup artist, and the only thing that I told myself, I was like, I'm gonna get my hands on Beyonce's face, and which till this day hasn't happened, but who's to say that it's not gonna happen? So that was the reason why I changed my Instagram name to Makeup by Griselda. What do you guys think of this look? I feel like it's so elevated in comparison to the photo. So for those that are also wondering if I am still freelancing, I have a few clients that I freelance for, but I don't take any new clients. Once Instagram started picking up for me, I decided to just put freelance on pause because I was so busy creating content and getting, you know, paid enough where I can survive off of Instagram, and I wasn't sacrificing my son's time anymore. I was able to just be there present for him at his baseball games, which I missed a lot of. That's why I love to sit and watch him practice, because I missed a lot of those times when I was working for a retail company. So in that photo, I don't have a lipstick on, but I am going to do my lips. So I am going to be using favorite lip liner in the shade Strip Down. It's going to go perfect with this look. So for lipstick, I'm going to be using La Plage. I think that's what it's called. It's from their newest bronze collection. Super soft, super subtle, very neutral. Let's not forget the bottom mascara. We're going to use my Holy Grail extended play GIGABLACK mascara. All right, you guys, so this is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me recreate my interview makeup look. I can't believe it's still been 10 years since I first picked up a makeup brush to become a makeup artist. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you guys were able to go down memory lane with me. I feel like that was the whole point of this video. I wanted to share this moment with you guys because it is very, very special to me, and whatever you are passionate about, you can do. I also wanted to let you guys know that there will be a part 2 to this video where I will share with you guys things that I have learned throughout my whole 10 years of being a makeup artist, things that I didn't know back then that I know now, and things that I did back then that I won't do now. So let me know in the comments down below if that is something that you guys are interested in, and without further ado, I will see you guys in my next video.